As you're more than likely already aware, today Paris was once again struck by a wave of shootings, and there were explosions as well. Now, of course, the information is literally coming out as we are recording this, so the information that we have is patchy and chaotic, but we're going to give you as much information as we have from the scene. We also have some initial photographs from Paris, which we're going to show you as well. Tragically, up to 60 are already dead, according to a CNN affiliate in the region. There are reports of up to 6 distinct shooting locations, although there is a possibility that certain shooters moved from one location to another. Some are saying 2 shooting locations. I've heard up to 6. One of the situations is at the Bataclan theater, where at least 15 have been killed, according to the Associated Press. Anywhere from between 70 to more than 100 people are currently being held hostage by somewhere between 6 to 8 shooters in that location alone. As well, there were 3 explosions near the Stade de France. Some people have released vines that they took during the France-Germany soccer match that's going on there, and you can distinctly hear the explosions in the background. The president was at that soccer match. He has been taken away, of course. And there's scattered reports of police firing at certain rooftops in the 10th district and near the theater. And so at this point, we don't know how many of the shooters are currently still out there, how many might have been killed. The information is, as I said, patchy, and there are contradictory reports coming in from multiple media outlets. But considering the recent history of terrorist attacks in France, this is extremely disheartening for this to happen now.
Yeah, CNN's Jim Bitterman, he's based in Paris. He says that producers who's at the Bataclan, that's the theater, right? Police are shooting at a rooftop near the theater, and that's where the hostages are being held.
Yes.
As many as 100.
Possibly more than 100, yeah.
So, I don't know the answer. Well, first of all, we don't know who the culprits are yet, right?
We don't know.
As we record it today. When you're watching this, you might already know, right? So, just understand we recorded this on Friday afternoon in Los Angeles time. So, of course, who it is makes a big difference as to how you react, I think. But, you know, what have we been doing? We want to get tough. America, after 9/11, got tough and opened up a Pandora's box, and that created ISIS, which probably, you know, I don't want to say probably, but has done things like this, right, in other parts of the world. So if we get tough with the guys who did this in Paris, whoever they are, for whatever reason, okay, so let's just make up things. They're either, let's say, they're fundamentalist Muslims, and we're going to get tough with them. Then what do, right? Or they're crazy right-wing skinheads, like the guy who attacked in Norway, right?
Yeah.
Okay, whichever. Pick your poison, right? Okay, how do we get tough with them? What do? Do we kill more of them? Do we bomb them? Well, the bombing has led to this. I'm not saying it's our fault. I'm just saying what we have done has not worked. It's not like there's less violence in the world, right? It's not like we're safe. There's attacks in London, in Paris, in the U.S., everywhere, right? So what do we do? And I don't know that I've got great answers. I think the idea is to be smart and to attack the people who actually did it, whoever it happens to be, and not any more than that, because that creates bigger problems. But that's not an easy task.
I imagine that if the world were run sanely, that the response would be the world coming together, and there wouldn't be Vladimir Putin randomly bombing ISIS, except not probably ISIS, and that this would, again, with sane leaders, this would cause Russia and the United States and the world powers, in conjunction with the people who are paying the enormous brunt of ISIL's. I can't believe I just said ISIL. Of ISIS's attacks, Muslim countries. There was a real coalition that sort of came together and dealt with it as one, as a group, instead of what I imagine will be something else and something more random and haphazard.
But even in that instance, and I don't disagree with what you're saying, even in that instance of that coalition and that kind of coming together, it's still the nature of ISIL and the nature of the threat that we're speculating about is so fragmented and so fractured that it's impossible to eradicate. So it would necessitate, on some level, it then becomes a question of to what extent do you engage with these people? And it comes up, we don't talk to terrorists. To what extent is it ever legitimate to open a dialogue with terrorist or jihadist organizations?
By the way, I didn't mean like a coalition of forces that then go out and bomb. I meant that there was a clear international
consensus,
a consensus that there was, and that it would.
But my question would then be to do what? Because otherwise, because at the moment there's a consensus just to obliterate, and to your point, it's not making any difference, or it's just exacerbating.
Let me a piece of breaking news here. Francois Hollande has closed France's borders. State of
That's-
emergency.
But do we have any evidence that they came from outside the borders?
I don't know.
Well,
but
it might be to stop them from fleeing.
Maybe they
possibly.
do. I don't know.
If they believe that the attackers are going to flee. If it's a long-term closing of the borders, then that's the sort of knee-jerk reaction that further radicalizes Muslims living in France.